Hey, everybody. So, welcome to our third episode of the podcast. That's not a year apart from each other. And I'm here with my guest, Shaun. I can never get your last name right. Um,
Ventulan.
Ventulan. and I brought him on today because he has some awesome coffee, and is a well traveled person, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about traveling with him, photography, his coffee business, and maybe future plans if we ever get a chance to go outside ever.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so um we we probably haven't really hung out together in this way or fashion even before the pandemic. I think we just kind
No.
of like hung around together in groups of people, and I don't think we ever had a very detailed one-on-one conversation together. At least I don't think so.
I actually don't know because I think the last time we hung out, I don't even remember.
Do you think it
I
was
think
like
it was
an
the beach. It was the beach with Frankie, I think.
Oh, okay, it could have been for yeah, I was thinking it's like it was way back even with airsoft.
No, it was definitely with Frankie. I think he came home with Callie for the first time, I think.
Oh yeah, that I, God, I think that might have been 3 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it was like 3 years. It was like years ago. I think it was like 3 years ago.
Okay, and and I brought you on to talk about coffee, travel, and photography, which I mentioned, but I'm just gonna get started with just talking about travel. So, on your Instagram, so it's at Shaun Van.
Hmm.
You travel a fair bit of time, a fair bit of places. I could see what it's of course the US, um different parts of Asia, of course the Philippines, it looks like Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and of course Europe, Germany, France, Spain. What are some of your favorite places to travel to?
So, out of in the past, since 2016, I think I've traveled a total of 20 countries.
20 countries?
Yeah. And favorite place, I would have to say, I mean, it all depends, right? Like, it depends on what kind
Yeah.
of travel you want to do. I mean, if you want like a real adventure, I would probably say my best destination was probably Myanmar back in
Yeah.
2014. Yeah, because like when I went, not a lot of people really explored Myanmar. So like when I went with my cousin, there was only like a handful of tourists.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly were like locals, like people from Thailand, Cambodia, and just locals. So I think
Mm-hmm.
to me that was a great experience. You don't see other tourists. Like if I compare it to going to Bangkok, maybe it's like full of
Mm-hmm.
other nationalities. But when you go to places like when I was in Yangon, it was just me and my cousin. You know,
Oh yeah.
so I think that's pretty cool because it's like when we went, it was I think the country just opened up, so they didn't really let tourists in yet.
Mm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What was the reason for that? Is there some reason why Myanmar wasn't open to tourists or something? I may not
I
know
think
this. Yeah.
I think because I mean we both found out about it. Me and my cousin were watching Anthony Bourdain, and I was vacationing in the Philippines, and he was just like, "Dude, you want to go somewhere?" I was like, "Sure." And my cousin he has traveled more than me.
Yeah.
So like one of the places hasn't been to is Myanmar. Just like, oh, let's just go there. You know,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think because there's been a war, I guess civil war going on in the country,
Oh,
3 years.
true. Yeah.
And they've been isolating themselves. I think that's what made travel there harder.
Mm. So it was a nation in conflict, right?
Yeah, I mean, when we went, I think there was a bombing in Mandalay around the
Mm-hmm.
same time we were there, but weren't in that area, so like we didn't get to experience that.
Mm.
Yeah, it
I'm
was like
I'm gonna circle back. I'm sorry about this, but what got you into this kind of like travel bug, where you wanted to go and experience like these different countries and nations before?
Hmm. I mean, it was actually that trip that started it. So after that one, fast forward 2016, that's when I went to, when was that? Like March. I went to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Japan. It was one of those random trips from me and I think you know Denny, right?
From Evik.
Yeah, yeah.
I may vaguely remember.
So it was with that guy when I was just like, hey, I found a trip to Tokyo for I think it was like $600.
Oh, that's not bad.
So it's not bad. So I was like, let's
Yeah.
go. And we bought the tickets. We just talked about it for a day and bought the tickets the same day.
Oh,
And that's when it's like, okay, so we went. And after that, it's like I caught that bug. I was like, oh, I want to do this more,
mm-hmm.
but I want to try doing this alone. So after that, when June hit the
Mm-hmm.
same year, that's when I did my first backpacking trips. I did most of Europe,
Mm-hmm.
most of Western Europe. So I started down in Spain and ended up in Norway. So I think that's what really kind of like you know pushed me to travel because like
Yeah.
after 2014, it's like I was thinking about it and had an opportunity in 2016, and then after that, it was just like spiraled out.
That's
And then the
crazy.
next year, yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. So you ended up traveling alone for Europe. I think one
Europe
of
and Asia too.
Europe and
Yeah.
Asia. Um, God, I can't imagine doing that myself, but it was kind of like one of my bucket lists to at least maybe try to travel on my own one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's honestly pretty easy. I
Is
mean,
it?
the thought of yeah, people think it's scary, but if as long as you live in hostels, I think you'll be fine. You'll always meet, meet
Mhm,
people. Locals are pretty nice too. Anywhere you go, I
mhm,
mean, it does get kind of dangerous,
mhm.
but it depends on the countries you go to.
Yeah,
And depends on how you try to get there. Like if you do it by bus and you go through the countryside, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit sketch. But I mean, otherwise, it's not bad, dude.
mhm. So, I've noticed with your travel, so you're also kind of like a photographer and a videographer. You also have like a YouTube channel where you help promote your coffee business, which we're gonna get to like a little later towards the end. But um, has photography been something that you've always been pursuing, or has it been kind of like a hobby? I had a photographer on a previous podcast. I was just wondering, is this is something more um, of a path for you too? So I see you
I
got some
mean,
really good photos too. Got some really
thanks.
awesome ones.
So like photography is not real. It's just a hobby. It's like I got into it when I back in 2014.
hmm
So I bought it because we're gonna go to the Philippines. Like I just got it because it's like going on vacation, right?
hmm
And then I brought it with me to Myanmar, and that's when it first started. It's like, dang, okay, travel photography is pretty fun. Then
hmm
Japan happened, and then Europe, and then like after that, it's like, that's when you start building that not passion, but it's just a hobby. It goes along with travel for me.
Yeah. And have you thought about maybe next trips coming up after we deal with this crazy pandemic?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna be going to the Philippines as soon as I can.
Yeah. You just got back
Yeah,
there
late
fe-
February.
late February, right?
Right.
Right before everything kind of shut down. kind of
Yeah, that's I had to rush back home.
yeah. It,
Yeah.
the, that was around the same time I think China was kind of closing the borders, right?
Uh they started closing the borders. I think early mid January. I think because
Mid
I
January.
was in the Philippines since December.
Yeah, yeah. And even when you were in the Philippines during December, they had that eruption, right?
Yeah, so Taal happened I think on the 12th of January. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, because like hmm?
you weren't anywhere near that, right?
I was.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so that kind of ruined some of the stuff I wanted to do for a week. So I had to.
Yeah.
That's why I extended my stay for a little bit longer. Yeah, and since I flew with points this time, I had to like if you fly with points, you can't just like you can change your schedule anytime, but it has
Right.
to be at their convenience.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like, because it cut down 2 weeks of stuff I had to do, I mean
Mm-hmm.
a week I had to do, I had to extend my stay for 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and because I did that, that became an issue.
Yeah.
And so after I extended, uh, the virus happened, right?
Yeah.
So like all the flights were gone. Like if I didn't, if I wanted to, because I actually couldn't leave.
Yeah.
So at one point, Cathay Pacific were like, "Oh, we're not letting anyone fly
Mm-hmm.
from Philippines to Hong Kong to LA." So it's like, okay, so I got stuck.
Ooh.
So yeah, so I had to buy another flight from Manila to Taiwan actually.
Oh, damn.
So that's how I got home. Yeah, so it kind of sucked, but
So that sounds crazy. First, you had to deal with an eruption, and then the growing news of this whole global pandemic affecting travel.
right.
That seems like kind of a crazy situation to try to like wrap your head around.
Yeah, I mean, like like every month it's getting worse. It's like, okay, well, what's next? Yeah,
You just
so just had to rush back.
take the
Yeah, because like
information
my
as you
fear was like, what if? Right,
can.
it's like my fear was, what if they don't let people come back in?
Yeah, yeah, that's weird
And
when all that like closing up borders and stuff, at least from the from our end, like the states, we were just like, oh, like stop from Europe, stop from specifically China, but like all of different places of Asia could still come, So
mhm,
yeah, it was it
yeah,
was it
and
was all
like
of that.
yeah, I knew it was gonna be a mess coming back because like as soon as it landed on LAX, we didn't have anything like no social distancing, nothing.
So
So that's when I, oh yeah,
so
it's like, hmm,
so when you came back, it was like there was no
it was like
social distancing rules.
no, dude, it was like no, nothing. So it was like I was like, oh man, we're screwed. Yeah,
um
as soon as I landed, it was like we were actually squished together in the line just to get through immigration and stuff. It's like, oh man, compared to how it was when I was in Taiwan. Taiwan was super strict. As soon as I landed, they sprayed everyone with disinfectant.
Oh, like that misting machine that they use, right? Or
It, no, it wasn't the machine yet because this was at the start.
oh, okay. So it's like a
Yeah, but as soon
little
as we landed, right,
yeah.
they had handheld spray cans, just sprayed
Okay.
all of us. Like we
Um
did have some sort of distance. It's like, okay, that's not bad. And then
mhm.
when we got home, it's like, oh, it's gonna get bad here.
So we mentioned something about the Philippines a little bit earlier. So you were there during the eruption of what was the mountain that blew its top off
Taal. I was actually at that place the day before.
the day before? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
the day before, and
I was gonna ask is like, uh, is it weird being around the eruption when it was happening?
I mean, no,
Yeah.
wait, what did we do that day? No. So like, we were there when because it's from my girlfriend's house. It's about an hour away,
Oh, okay.
but the plume you can see it.
Oh, okay. And did you hear it? Like, did you hear the initial blast on an
No.
eruption?
You
No.
don't hear. No, yeah, no. It's
So
just
you
like a giant plume.
okay, and you just kind of saw it like literally a town over or something like that, like an hour over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of like I think we just had our car washed, right? And then we went to SNR. SNR's like Costco there
Mm-hmm.
to get some groceries. And then I remember going outside and like touching our cars, like, hey, what's up with all this debris?
Mm-hmm.
We figured it was construction. And then on the way home, we're outside our patio talking. And then my phone rings, just like the news thing. It's like, oh, there's like a eruption. And then we do start seeing like it's like raining ash. Like it's like not ash either.
It's like
It's like really sharp dirt, and it's kind of like it's things to touch.
Ooh. Oh,
It's
that
like
sounds.
kind of it's glassy.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like dealing with insulation for like a roof or something. You know that
Yeah,
glossy texture that if you're not wearing
yeah,
gloves, you'll start getting rashes everywhere.
yeah. So it's kind of like glassy texture. It's like sand with glass,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hear it because like it's hitting the leaves, and that's like pretty thick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it was messy because it's like really dusty,
Mm-hmm.
And when it first happened, I remember it looked like the streets were covered in sand. It was crazy. And like I remember we tried to rush out to buy masks for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and all the stores were sold out.
Just like immediately, and this is like before COVID, almost, right?
Right, right.
So,
So like I had to buy because I didn't know how long this was gonna last because like they were saying it's gonna explode like completely.
oh
So I
damn.
remember I did end up buying a mask, but it was a respirator.
Mm.
It's like I'm not gonna. Might as well get something heavy duty.
Yeah, yeah. If it's like a
It's just like
fine,
the small, yeah.
yeah,
So
and it's
you
plus
don't
it's
want to
like
breathe that in.
yeah, it's like a glassy, sharp rock, like microscopic rocks, and once it gets into your lungs, it's like it turns into cement. That's what I heard from some reports. It's like if you breathe that in, it turns into cement inside your lungs. Bad
Yes,
day.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. Like we couldn't use our AC units because like,
Oh, get clogged up, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so
You'll, you
it was pretty. It was pretty bad for everyone. I think we had locked. No one went out for I think 2 days, 3 days.
no.
Yeah,
And so
it was a crazy experience though.
it's a cool story though. I feel like that's there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy because like that volcano spot, right? We've been going. That's always our go-to spot because there's like a crater. It's a cool
Mm-hmm.
crater. There's like a nice lake there.
Mm-hmm.
And back in October, no, September. So I was also there from September to October,
Mm-hmm.
and then we actually got like an Airbnb facing that crater.
Oh damn.
Literally in front of us is like the volcano.
Oh wow.
So and we've been going back and forth. Pretty much, we went back four times,
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 times that trip. Yeah, because we'd go up there for lunch.
Mm-hmm. And
So like we had no idea it would explode.
and the Airbnb is like right at that volcano.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh
pretty
damn,
nice.
that's probably gone now.
No, it's still there.
It's still there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
because like the volcano, like the actual explosions, like it's like a big crater like this, right? I
yeah.
mean, think of it's like a lake like this, and it's like a little donut in the middle. That's where the volcano is.
Okay, so that's where that was.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you really can't like you can't. There's like they don't have like a hotel or anything like that on it, but
Mm-hmm.
surrounding it's like all the hotels and stuff,
Okay.
Airbnbs. Yeah.
So what exactly of your trip like it delayed? Were you there doing stuff for your business for your coffee business, or were you there for other reasons?
Yeah, yeah. And I was shooting some content too.
Okay.
So I just couldn't do anything for a week because I had to stay inside the my condo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause as soon as you go out, it's like it really sucks to breathe. You can't just breathe it in.
Yeah. Did it had a
Yeah, mm,
did it had like a specific smell or anything?
yeah. It smells like sulfur.
Sulfur? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
so
other
it smells like it smells like gunpowder pretty much.
okay.
Yes, it's not like pleasant to breathe. It's like
Mm-hmm.
imagine going on a shooting range and that's all you smell for like the next 3 4 days.
That would be annoying.
Yeah,
I'm okay
yeah,
with a shooting range and everything, and I could acclimate, but it's like if that I had to deal with that with 3 days, I think, oh yeah, the
right.
smell of
And like
sulfur
in
is not good.
some parts, it started raining in some parts. So like it's like really muddy.
Oh yeah, I could imagine. And then it doesn't really come off a roof or real easily. So I think
No,
there
see, you have to get it cleaned. Yeah.
yeah, there was probably some reports of like roof cave-ins, right? because that's some scary stuff if it just builds up on top of your place, you know?
Mm, I mean, it depends. Probably like in like poorer areas.
Yeah, like more affected
Like,
areas.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like poverty is pretty big. So it's like most likely those places are, you know, if there's any cave-ins, it would be those. How would you call that? I would say some squatter areas, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like it wasn't that. The ash wasn't that crazy. Like probably like next to it, if
Mm-hmm.
anything.
Yeah, like more closer to the
Yeah.
epicenter of where it's all
Right.
happening.
Right.
Um, so I touched on it a little bit, but the your coffee business, how did that all kind of started? You know, and I remember I think there was a few posts here and there where you're just traveling to the Philippines, just meeting with
Right.
different farmers, different business owners, and where did that kind of plan come from? And you know,
Well, originally, like I was actually going to do a sugar importation. I was going to do a specific kind of sugar that we grow in my country, and I was going to import that here.
mm-hmm,
And then I realized, like, oh, okay, it's going to be hard to do
mm-hmm,
because like sugar is pretty heavy, you know,
yeah,
and I didn't want to pay that and ship that over. And after like looking at the numbers, like I don't think it's worth bringing in.
mm-hmm,
But at the same time, I was also thinking of doing coffee. So I
mm,
know coffee's still like it's fairly new to the Philippines. I mean, we've been doing it for years, but not like to this extent where it's like specialty coffee, you know.
right,
So I was like, you know what, let me try that, and that was it. Like, good thing I have like contacts back home,
mm-hmm.
so that kind of made it easier for me to source. But the only issue with that is getting the stuff here. It's super hard.
So, like, have you dealt with like any imports and exports problems for your business? You know, having to
Not
deal with
yet.
not yet.
It's just the cost of getting here is super
Mm-hmm.
expensive, and like actually buying the product's expensive. That's why I mean, if we were to like really try to make profit off of what we're doing, it should have
Right.
been priced at $24 per bag
Right.
because our coffee is really it's limited.
Mm-hmm.
It's really like small batch and like how it works compared to other countries. Like where we're buying it from, the farmers are getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah. So it's
Like it's owned by farmers. It's like they dictate the price
mm-hmm.
and like what they told us. It's like whether you buy it for whether you buy 1,000 bags from us or 10, it's the same price.
Mm.
So you can buy 100,000 bags, it's going to be the same price. So like, it doesn't you can't negotiate?
Yeah. There's no discount or anything like that. There,
No,
it
no, no.
seems like they're if they're getting paid well, so that's kind of like a fair trade or well, what's that
I
other
mean, it it
phrase?
it,
Or yeah,
it is it is. It's just like they don't have accreditation for that stuff.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's so that's how it started, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see some stuff over there,
Mm-hmm.
check out some other farms, just to see how it's made. You know, it's like I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know how I don't know how it's grown, so I want to see how it's grown and
Mm-hmm.
how the process works. And ended up going to two farms. One farm was like one of those sketchy farms I went to. It was up the mountains, and it was like I think a 4 hour drive. And what I didn't know was there's like rebels up there.
Oh, what? There's rebels out
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Oh, geez.
Um, and I came in with you know I brought my drone,
Mm-hmm.
my camera, and I had a 511 backpack. So it's like
Right.
okay, and these guys do not like Americans.
Oh.
And here I am. I'm like the tallest guy there.
Yeah.
Military backpack, drone, camera. It's like, damn, they're probably gonna think I'm like,
Some kind of
I work.
insurgent or something.
No, I probably work for the CIA or something.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because like I'm like bald too, so it's like okay.
You're not too worried
And
about
when
that.
yeah, when I went,
You're
I wasn't. I was like working out a lot, so I was a little bit bigger.
you're
It's like,
bigger.
oh man, I'm asking for some trouble here. But like, they're actually pretty nice. I'm pretty sure some of them are like retired,
Mhm.
like rebels or something like that. So
Mhm.
the jokes that they would say, you know,
Yeah.
it's like okay, this is pretty sketch. But like we had the people I was with, they had a contact up there, so they told it's like the how would you he's like the mayor, right,
Mm-hmm.
of this
So
small town. So like as soon as we get up there, he met with us.
right.
So he was on his motorcycle next to us. He introduced me to the farm president.
Mm-hmm.
So like the coffee farms, they have their own, they elect their own president, and it's just another farmer.
Yeah.
So it's like a co-op.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty much how it works. So we had lunch at the mayor's house. Um, and after that, we went to one of the farms owned by the president. It was pretty cool, like seeing how they process everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the person I was with, she's a professional coffee grader. So like she does it for work.
Mm-hmm.
And she taught them how to like dry the coffee beans right. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like make sure you don't do this, you do that. Left them like I think it was like a hydrator to see like how like how hydrated the beans are. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
whole process.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, but despite how dangerous that was, like I probably wouldn't do it again.
You gone to a coffee producer in the middle of rebel territory or something?
No, it was literally
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, like plus
Yeah.
I do speak the dialect fluently,
Yeah.
but they could tell I'm not from there anymore. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was born there, so it's like I was born in the Philippines, but like I grew up here,
Yeah. You grew up here. And a lot of your
right? So it's like
experience is here. So yeah.
I mean, 13 and down, it was there. 13 and
Mm-hmm.
up's here,
Yeah.
but like in terms of like how the way I speak,
Yeah.
I think they could tell like I'm not from there anymore. You know, so it's
Yeah.
like I remember one of the guys was like, "Oh, can I have your phone number?" Like,
Mm-hmm.
"Shit, I don't have a phone number here." But like, luckily, I remember my mom gave me a SIM card for my Wi-Fi box. It had a phone number in the back. So I just gave them that. You know,
Oh, okay.
and when they asked me where I'm from, I told them, "Oh, I'm from the island next door. Like, I'm from Cebu, from a
Yeah.
different island."
From a different. So they
Yeah, because I
absolutely
want to
don't.
tell.
So they
No, no one
absolutely.
knew. No,
Yeah.
no.
So they absolutely don't like Americans there. At least for this
It's
part,
not.
it's
I
not just
wouldn't
American.
say. I would. Oh, I wouldn't just say like um, they don't like them, but they're more like they just don't want outsiders.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. Yeah, it does sound they're friendly towards outsiders. Yeah.
Yeah, but if they I'm saying if they know you're American or you're like a foreigner,
Mm-hmm.
most likely they see you as like you know if someone's gonna get kidnapped, it's gonna be the foreigner.
Yeah. Ooh.
If it's for ransom, I mean that
Okay.
happens, especially up the mountains. Like one of the towns pretty close by, I think 2 weeks before that, there's like a big shootout between rebels and like police. Yeah, so like it's just pretty active. So it's like that's why I was like, shit, like what am I doing here?
You're trying to start your coffee business, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, I'm in this situation.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so I did that, but I actually wanted to do something else too.
Which was the sugar
Which
thing, right?
no. Same with coffee, but at a different region.
Oh, okay.
But that one, everyone advised me not to do it because it was like if there was rebels there, imagine rebels times two. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like no thanks.
Yeah.
But that would have been really cool because the coffee there was like next to a volcano, so that's what I wanted to. I wanted
Mhm.
to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
just like sourcing's hard, and like um, there's only a few farms
mhm.
who grow coffee at like a competitive level.
Right.
Because you don't want to buy it. I mean, you could buy it anywhere, but it's like you have to be careful with quality too.
Mhm. Uh, uh, is there anything specifically you learned through your experience of like traveling to these coffee producers and like doing this for your business that, you wouldn't have that knowledge before as like a new
Well,
business?
I mean, I learned everything as it goes, and it's like knowledge. I mean, it's just like negotiating, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the hardest part was pretty much just setting up how it's going to get shipped.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know, and how the coffee trade works. Like people put bids on it.
mm-hmm. So it's like an auction, right? They
Oh
put
yeah,
bids
it is. Yeah,
on coffee. It,
yeah. Unless you know the farm owners, and you can just buy from them directly too.
mm.
But for anyone else who don't have that luxury of knowing, having context there, yeah, you'd have to bid.
And so you mentioned that the Philippines is kind of new into the coffee business and kind of like the coffee game. Like have you find anything similar from different businesses that have Filipino coffee, or have you not seen any of that like
I
here in
mean,
the States?
here in the States, no one's importing coffee from the Philippines except for me.
Right. And
So
so you have the
that's
market cornered there.
yeah, but it's not a market that it's not like in demand, especially now.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so it's like unlike I guess because a lot of people here drink like Costa Rica,
Mhm.
Sunset coffee, Ethiopia, and stuff like that. But like for Filipino coffee, no one really knows about it yet.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like harder for you to get it out there, like marketing. So it's it's still pretty hard. Like people do follow you and like engage with
Mhm.
you, but it doesn't really convert to sales.
Yeah. That's
It's just
true.
the same thing with Vietnamese coffee, right? Like people know what Vietnamese coffee is, but no one ever buys Vietnamese beans
Mhm. Yeah.
because
Uh,
it all depends on who the big players are. Like let's say with Starbucks or Blue Bottle, right? Like those
mhm.
guys only source from Sumatra, from so and so places. It's like those are the things people know.
Mhm.
You know, it's like I don't think anyone's gonna just unless it's mostly Filipinos who do this. But I feel like if you Google Filipino coffee, they're the ones who are most likely gonna try to look for it.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about thinking of partnering with like smaller coffee shops and things of that nature to help kind of promote Filipino coffee? You know, maybe
Yeah, yeah.
bid some.
So we did have an event back in November. We do supply coffee for them every now and then.
Hmm.
They're called Romeo Chocolate in Long Beach.
Oh
So
yeah, I
if you
remember
want,
that
yeah,
event. Yeah.
yeah. So if you guys want to buy some of my coffee in store, you can find it there too.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's like getting it out there is a lot harder, only because of price too. Like our coffee is pretty expensive for small batch. Like right now, we're having a sale, so it's like 14.99 instead of 17.99.
Hmm.
Like I said, it should have been like at $24. But because everything just it's just the where we're getting it from. It's kind of like once you add in shipping and the actual cost of beans, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's
I
rough.
yeah, that I think it can add up, especially if it's traveling from a far place and getting there, right?
Uh, it depends because like if we get it from let's say Ethiopia or Costa Rica, Colombia, those guys are already shipping in huge quantities and they
Hmm.
can produce a lot.
So
So
the info.
even if we pay, let's just give a number, right? Like $1,000 per pallet.
Hmm.
Even if we do that, we're getting the bag of beans for maybe like probably half the price of what we're paying right now for our
Mm,
beans, or maybe one third of that. So it's like it's easier,
yeah. So the infrastructure in the Philippines is not conducive for like
No, no,
big
no,
big
no. They can't do production.
yeah.
No, no. So
Yeah.
that's what makes it expensive.
Yeah. Is it because coffee in the Philippines is just a new market there?
No, I mean when I say new market, I'm talking about like um, high quality, like high end coffee.
Okay.
That's new.
Okay.
That's like a new wave of coffee. But like, I mean, they've been drinking coffee since forever.
Okay. I've been producing it since
Um,
forever. Yeah.
yeah, but not to the same standards elsewhere. So
Mm.
most of the coffee, like, so I do go to a lot of coffee shops there, and all the coffee shops there are super good.
Right.
The majority of the coffee that they're getting, they're sourcing from Colombia,
Mm.
Colombia, Brazil, Ethiopia, Costa Rica. So like it's all over the world except for Filipino coffee. So they don't use their own product.
It's weird. You would imagine that they would be using
Uh,
their own stuff, right?
No, actually, like you'd
Huh?
expect them to do the opposite
Oh.
because it's like colonialism, right?
Oh yeah, there's a big history of that, right?
Yeah, so people want to buy something that's not from our own country, so they prefer getting stuff imported in. So I mean, you can find Filipino coffee in like non. Let me see, where do we get Filipino coffee while I was there? There's some like higher end restaurants that do offer Filipino coffee.
Mm-hmm.
There's this place called Marcia Adams. It's in Tagaytay. It's the same place where the volcano blew up.
Mm-hmm.
But we had lunch there, and they had Filipino coffee. But I think it was like priced at $5 or $6, which like if you convert it, it's pretty expensive over there.
Yeah.
Like for me going home, it's like the dollar just multiplies. So it's like $5 here for coffee is like kind of normal, but for there
Mm-hmm.
it's not. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So some places like offer like Filipino coffee,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, what makes it kind of like not that appealing, it's like the way they roast it.
Oh, okay.
It's like I like light medium roast to
Mm-hmm.
medium, but there it's like people do roast it dark,
So it's like really, ooh, a really
super
dark
bitter.
roast, super bitter.
Yeah, it's like yeah,
My cursory search of Filipino coffee on Google, it's like there it mentions that like a lot of people there tend to like it very dark, like a dark
yeah.
roast. Yeah.
So it is pretty dark,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why I wanted to change when I got the stuff shipped here. I mean, I was buying it from my source, and like they do, they gave me the notes of how it should taste like. So that's how we had because we get our stuff roasted here in the States.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes, it's like you can taste the difference once you do like light roast. It's like to me, I like the floral taste, the fruity taste.
mm-hmm.
So I want to drink it like tea also.
Mm-hmm. So the process is that you buy it from the producer, it gets shipped to the States, and then you roast it here in, I assume, California,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. California,
and then
Silver
you
City.
oh, and then you package it and ship through whoever wants to buy it at that
Right,
point. Yeah.
right. So everything, so except for the coffee part, I mean, because we can't source it here, right? So like we get the source from the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
We what's it called? We roast it here. We bag it here. Even our packaging's made in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's made here,
Yeah.
which we could have done like the easy way, just do it through China. But like I'm really like particular about quality.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really OCD about that. Like I need to see it.
Yeah. You need to
So
see how it works. Yeah.
every yeah, and like with packaging, like the packaging, it took me like what I think almost a month to design that. So I made the
Mm-hmm.
packaging also.
You're very hands-on as a founder, by the way. I think that's pretty
I,
cool.
no, I like to be in control because like I want to know how it works. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to delegate tasks and not know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So like even the website, I made the website too. Like I try to do everything to my like if I can do it, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll try to manage everything, not because like I just want to know how it works.
Yeah.
And how I see business. Like if everything fails, at least I get something out of it.
Right. Right.
So
And
like, I get new skills.
it's like a learning experience all around.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah. So I just bought of 2 bags of your coffee. I got a light medium roast, and then
Mhm.
I got a dark roast. I don't often prefer dark roast, but I'm like, you know what? For a friend, I'm willing to try anything. So
It's still pretty good though.
yeah, so
A
so
lot of our customers like our dark roast actually.
what's the best way? What is your favorite way of enjoying coffee? Like what is your favorite
I prefer
pour?
I like Chemex.
Chemex?
Yeah.
What is that? Because my coffee knowledge is just I have my Mr. Coffee and my Vietnamese little like the little metal filters.
Right, right, right.
Other than
So
that,
if you want
yeah.
to use you can use the dark roast for the Vietnamese coffee.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come out really nice. So Chemex is kind of like a glass. It's like a glass container.
Mm-hmm.
It's about that big, and you put your coffee grounds, and there's like a paper filter. It's like a pour over, pretty much.
Oh, so it's like a
Yeah.
single pour over. Kind of looks like an hourglass, right? And it's just one.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I
So
think I've
that's
seen
how
that
I
before.
make most of my probably 90% of my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then I use my Bialetti. It's like one of those stovetop coffee makers.
Okay. I could kind of
I,
imagine
I just I
that.
just
Yeah.
I just really like manual stuff. Like I could get like an espresso machine,
Mm-hmm.
but I just prefer the old school way to do it.
But where's the fun in an espresso machine if you have like little things for single serve, right?
Right. I mean, to me, I just like coffee.
Mm-hmm. And you're not very particular in your process.
No, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not snobbish about that. I'll drink
Okay.
whatever coffee's there. If it's
Yep.
Starbucks, I'll drink it. I don't hate on people who do. It's just coffee, dude.
Yeah. You haven't got to that point yet.
And I mean, no, because when I went to so when I did go to Asia, my first
Mhm.
backpacking trip, right? That was like
Right,
me
right, right.
getting inspired. So let me go back to that one. So like
Yeah.
the reason why I actually backpacked all across Southeast Asia was to look for coffee.
Mhm.
This is before I started the business too. I just wanted because I just really love coffee. So I did that without thinking of starting a business. I went to Thailand first to try the coffee there. So I went to Bangkok. So the
Mhm.
coffee here is really good, and it's still the best. And then went to Cambodia. I went to Siem Reap. It's like, oh, the coffee here is pretty good too.
Mhm.
And I remember the best coffee I tried in Cambodia was next to. It was after Angkor Wat, and there was like a small shack that
Mhm.
had like a shack restaurant. They had like I think it was like Vietnamese coffee style,
Mhm.
and you taste the condensed milk. It was really good, like milky coffee, and it's like local. I think they sold local beans.
Mhm.
So I did that, and then went to Vietnam after. Tried the coffee in Ho Chi Minh. It's like, yeah, it's pretty good too. And I actually
Mhm.
made some barista friends there. So that was like how it started. It's like I really just wanted to. I think I saw pictures of the coffee I tried. Like I would try different coffee spots all over.
Mhm.
So that was like why I traveled. It's like I just want to try the coffee here, here, here. And even before that, actually, before I left because I went to Thailand in August, but back in July, I went to Vancouver for 3 days.
Mhm.
So I actually started in Vancouver, actually, if you looking back. So I went to Vancouver to try different coffee spots. So I went for it was July 1's their, kind of like their 4th of July.
Mhm.
So I went because it was their 150th anniversary.
Yeah. Okay.
So I went for that, and I was like, oh, let me just try the coffee here. And Canada has really good coffee. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then I went to New York. I think, when did I go to New York? Just a week before I left for Thailand.
Mm.
No, 2 weeks before I left. So I went to New York. I did the same thing. I went to La Colombe.
Mhm.
Where did we? I went to so many coffee shops in there. I don't even remember.
It sounds like
So that's how it started.
yeah. It sounds like if you took pictures of like everything you've done, you could probably have like a coffee diary or of all the
Yeah,
pictures. Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I would take a photo of every latte I would get.
Mhm.
So I did that from Canada, and then I went to New York, and then Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and then I went to Malaysia. So Malaysia, I didn't get to drink coffee there because I kind of messed up my schedule.
Mm.
I thought I was gonna be there for 3 days, but I missed. I don't know what happened. I was just tired, but I didn't look at the flight, and it turns out I was only gonna be there for a day.
So that's basically you're just there for a layover.
I was in there 2 days, but
Yeah.
I didn't really get to explore as much.
Mhm.
And I wanted to go there I just wanted to see some cave,
Mhm.
like Batu Cave. I really just wanted to see it. That's the
Mhm.
reason why I went. It was like, And then I spent 5 days in Singapore. And when I was in Singapore, I didn't even know Singapore's expensive. I just went.
You
I was
just
like,
went.
oh, I just literally just went, and it was like, and I remember when I landed, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get some money exchange. Like probably $100 gonna last me a long time. No, dude, it's like I was like, damn. I remember like I even complained to the guy. It's like, hey, how come you just gave me 136 Singapore dollars back? It's like, look at the exchange rate. It's like, oh my god, it was close to 1-to-1.
Yeah.
And it's like I would say it's a little bit more expensive than Singapore. I mean, than Japan. And I was like, okay. And I remember I messaged my cousins like, hey, what's a good coffee spot here? And they told me to go to this place called, what was it called? I was in downtown Singapore, and I think it was next to, I don't remember the name anymore. But the coffee didn't have a price,
Coffee
The
didn't have
menu
a
didn't have a
price.
price. No, I was just like, okay. And it was I think it was Brazilian coffee. The
Mm-hmm.
beans were from Brazil, and he was using a siphon. I was like, it can't be that expensive. Like maybe the most $6. It was like $12.
$12 for. Oh my god.
Like I mean, I've paid like $10 before, but it was for geisha. It's like, which is fine. That it's
Mm-hmm.
really it's like rare coffee.
Mm-hmm.
When I did pay $10, I know the owner. It's like he hooked me up with like another cup of coffee after that. It's like, okay, that's not bad. It's like
Yeah.
$5 per cup, but this was like $12, dude, for like a tiny cup of coffee.
Wow.
It's not even like Civet Cat. Like I've tried the Coffee Luwak
Mm-hmm.
back in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and I paid about like it was like about $10 for that one. But it's like I get it because it's rare, It's like
Yeah.
kind of hard to get. I'll probably coffee from Brazil. It's $12, dude.
$12 in Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore. I didn't know it's expensive there.
They just didn't have the price on the
Yeah,
menu, so they could catch you at the end of it.
yeah. So like that's how it started. It's like
Yeah.
after that, after Singapore, I decided to go to the Philippines to visit my grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I actually got the idea that there's Filipino coffee. I didn't know that
Mm-hmm. And you
because I
and
was at.
no, I was just gonna say, and you wanted to be the person to expand Filipino coffee to the rest of the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to bring in Filipino. It's like like being like Asian, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
when you say Asian, like people mostly associate themselves with like Asian, Japanese, Korean, or Chinese.
Yeah, East
But no one
Asian.
really talks about
Yeah.
but no one really talks about the South.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you say Filipino, it's like the only thing that comes out to their heads like, oh, nurses, do this, do that. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to change that. It's like I want to bring like Filipino products out, but at the same time, I don't want to make it cultural. Like, because I personally hate it when people make everything native.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I want to make it, I want to present my culture in a nice way, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So we do want to bring like it's like luxurious, just because it's from Asia doesn't mean just
Mm-hmm.
because it's from Southeast doesn't mean it can't be premium.
Yeah.
So
The
that was my push.
Yeah, and I think what you mentioned is like it's probably the food is probably the vehicle to help expose people to different cultures.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
But even then, like with Filipino food, it's getting there. But it's the only thing that's hard because it is pretty oily. Like
yeah.
personally, like I love Filipino food. It's like damn, it's gonna be hard for people to adjust to like all the oil. You
I've
know?
I've had that comment before. I've worked with a lot of Filipino coworkers back when my office was in downtown LA. We're around I think about like maybe 2 or 3 miles away from historical Filipino town.
Right, right,
and
right.
and we're in downtown, and we had hospitals close by to us, and so there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like little cafes that kind of like does to go services for like Filipino food. It was really
Mm-hmm.
good food.
It's good food,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But
and
it's just the way you present it, like to me, it's all about presentation. It's like if you present it in a nicer way, it's like I
hmm
think you could go somewhere.
yeah,
Because like if you eat Filipino food, it's like mostly like just like a scoop of this, a scoop of that. It's like a sloppy looking. It's like
hmm
to me, it's all about presentation.
that's
That's what
true.
makes food. I think it's a big thing with food. Like if it looks
Hmm.
nice, it's presented in a nice way. Like in the Philippines, right? There's like a few restaurants there. We're taking Filipino food and like elevating it.
Hmm.
So now you see like really pretty looking food. It's like, yeah, like I didn't know Filipino food could look like that. And there's actually one restaurant in downtown too. Lhasa. They're one of those guys who do it here.
Oh, I've heard
Lhasa,
of
yeah.
Lhasa. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
right next to Helen Race.
Helen Ray. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Lhasa, like what they do, it's the same thing. Like they take Filipino food and make it modern. I mean, it's
Hmm.
the same ingredients, but like now it looks more appealing to eat,
Yeah.
especially
Uh,
if you're coming from a different culture.
yeah. Have you heard of a tribal cafe in Filipino town?
No.
No. I think what my coworkers describe it as like it's like Filipino comfort barbecue food.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
think I probably saw that on Facebook. It's like the skewers, right?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I've had it before, and it's really really
Yeah,
solid food. Yeah.
yeah. That stuff's really good. Like that's
Hmm.
one of the stuff you want to get when you're in the Philippines, like the skewer
Hmm.
foods.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty delicious. I tried. So honestly, I don't really eat a lot of street food
Hmm.
in the Philippines, anyways. Like I do everywhere else, but like not in the Philippines. But I got to try it back in October. His stuff is so good.
Hmm.
I tried chicken intestines for the first time. It wasn't that bad.
For the first time. Okay. Chicken intestines for the first time.
Yeah, yeah. I don't eat that kind of stuff. Like I only eat like if it's like pork, beef. Like I'm really like vanilla about eating
Yeah.
Filipino food, anyways. Like I don't eat liver.
Hmm.
I don't eat pork blood, but I got to try all that stuff back in October and December because my girlfriend's mom made dinuguan. It's kind of like pork blood,
Hmm.
and it was like, oh, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, I've had a version with pork blood as a kid because it's like these gelatinous cubes that we at least for a Cambodian family, like we just have it in like little porridge, and
Right,
like
right,
have like a
right.
big pot of porridge, and you probably wouldn't or probably saw that in Cambodia, like this giant bowl of porridge with pork blood and chicken and like fried garlic, and it's so good.
Huh.
It,
I didn't get to try it when I was in Cambodia. No,
Well, I got a
I had my
recommendation for you in Long Beach.
yeah, yeah. When I went to Cambodia, I ate like the weird stuff. It's like I went to the night market and got fried rice with crocodile. It was so good.
That's interesting. What did crocodile taste like?
It's like chicken mixed with shrimp. I mean, that's the only
It's like a
taste
shrimpy
I could.
chicken.
Yeah, it's like a shrimpy chicken.
Yeah,
Shrimpy chicken with a little bit of pork.
yeah,
It looks like pork. Well, it's like pork, shrimp, chicken, yeah, something like that. It's
yeah.
delicious though.
It's
Yeah, so I ate that, and I think because I had a hard time finding like maybe something seam rape. Maybe it would be a different story if I went to Phnom Penh or something like that.
hmm
The seam rape, it's like really touristy, right?
yeah, yeah.
So it was
And
harder for me to get like authentic Cambodian food, and I feel like Cambodian food's kind of close to like because I was in like near Thailand, right? So I guess it's like kind of similar.
yeah. Well, if you're traveling in that area, like I feel like within like a weeks of each other, like
Hmm.
things kind of taste similar. Maybe there's some differences here and there. I think
Yeah,
Cambodian food to me, as someone that's Cambodian American, like it's just kind of this fishy, salty, kind of briny to some degree. That's how I would describe Cambodian food, and I just love it.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I didn't have any issues eating Cambodia. Everything was good.
yeah,
I just don't remember what I ate.
yeah. Yeah, well, I hope that I think Cambodian and Filipino food will have like its time of day in like
Right.
in
Yeah,
Asian
because
culture.
Vietnamese food's already getting there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
already like accepted. Like, but Filipino food, not Filipino food, Cambodian food for sure. Not really. Like you don't really hear about people wanna. It's like you want to get Cambodian food. Like you hear people, oh, let's get Thai. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like Vietnamese and Thai has always been kind of like foods that's been like okay with for like a Western audience, and like Filipino
Right.
just haven't really got there. But
Filipino, Cambodian, Laotian,
Laotian,
Indonesian food. I think it's already getting there too.
yeah, through Indomine. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's like food. I did a lot of. I did do a lot of eating.
Hmm.
What I realized I didn't really like. I didn't really like, but it's like Singapore feels like it's the States.
It
I
be,
couldn't. Because it's like it's so modernized. Like I don't know what to eat. All the
yeah.
restaurants are like foreign.
Doesn't the Philippines have like hawker stands?
Yeah,
No, not the
yeah.
Philippines. I meant Singapore. Sorry, I said
Oh
Philippines.
yeah.
The
So yeah, so that was one of the cool things about Singapore. Actually, forgot about that. Like the hawker stands are pretty nice. I ate
Mhm.
at Hawker Chan. It's like the cheapest Michelin star.
Oh yeah, the soy chicken, right?
Yeah. That
Yeah,
was pretty cool. But I did love the Indian food in Singapore though.
yeah. Well, that's the thing about um. Well, I had a really long and I think like tough conversation about Asian identity recently with some teachers because they were saying that East Asian students, right? They tend to have like a greater sense of identity and like, yeah, this is our culture and stuff like that. And growing up, Southeast Asian, a lot of Southeast Asian students are like, well, within Asian communities, we're not seen as valued, almost, like
Hmm.
um, it's like it's the Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, and then the rest Asians are just kind of like, okay, you just kind of fend for yourselves, almost.
Right.
Yeah, and it's kind of a screwed up thing to think about. It's like we're all amongst this kind of Asian continent, and to kind of like not see South Asian as Asian, and not to see as Southeast Asians as as a group too. It's I think we're moving to a very serious conversation part of the podcast now.
Hmm.
But
That was just kind of true though, right?
yeah,
It's like, um, yeah, and we do get generalized like, oh, you're Asian. Are you Chinese? It's like no.
yeah.
Are you Korean? Like no.
Yeah, that's a funny thing with me. My last name is Kim, and there's probably some concrete story, but like I think my dad just says like it's like an immigration thing. So I was like, okay, but our last name is Kim. So whenever my name comes up in like a classroom setting, everybody would just assume I'm Korean, and I would
Yeah, I can see that.
and I would tell them it's like, okay, I may be the most darkest Korean you ever met then, because I I don't look Korean at all.
Uh,
Um,
I remember when I first met you, and
yeah.
you were like, "Oh, my last name is Kim." It's like, "Oh, you're Korean."
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I said it's like, "Hey, my name's Ryan Kim. Oh, by the way, I'm not Korean. So just let's straight out not not get it mixed up here."
But I do have a friend. He's also Cambodian. I think his last name's Kim also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does his name also happen to be Brian? Because there's only gonna have to be one Brian Kim.
No, his name's not Bryan.
Okay. Yeah, that's I think from what I've heard, I think Kim's like a popular first name in Cambodia, maybe.
Could be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really know.
At least that's what my parents tell me. So, um, yeah, that's all I know. And I think maybe during the kind of confusion of like immigration and like us dealing with that, I think our last name ended up being Kim or something. So yeah, fun for us. Yeah, Eastern and Western naming conventions don't align, so I guess that we just
Right.
the names we have. Yeah. So, what else have I? Like, I have a little bit of notes here. So we talked about photography, we talked about your travel, and we talked about your coffee business. Oh, there was one thing that wanted to at least ask you. So, on your Instagram, right? So you
Mm.
have links to yourself, right? At Shaun Van, Asukar Coffee, which is Asukar Co. And then you have another one that says photography and whiskey. So do you
Oh
like
yeah,
to
yeah.
cook?
So
So, and I've seen this before. I'm like, you have a whiskey collection. Do you?
I do, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like one of my. I don't really collect a lot of things, but I do like Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
And do like I do drink bourbons sometimes too. So like I started collecting that, and I think it was like a year ago. I just took a few photos and actually blew up. The
Yeah.
page blew up right away. It's like, oh, that's cool. And then like, ever since I've been like just buying bottles every now and then. Like I collect some of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got pretty fortunate and won a raffle once where I got like a super rare bourbon,
Oh,
and I got
from
to buy a
where?
retail. It was like some guy from San Diego,
Okay.
so liquor store
Okay.
owner. Like I think when I got it, the going price, I think it was like $1,000 for the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the selling price, but I got it for like 100. It's like, oh, it's such a great deal.
Oh, geez, that's an awesome deal for bourbon. Was it bourbon
Yeah,
or?
yeah, it's bourbon. It's bourbon. It's Old Rip Van Winkle. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was going for a little bit more before. It was like 6 to 1,000, I think. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh. So ever since then, it's like I started getting more into it, and like I do smoke some cigars every now and then too.
Mm-hmm.
Been a while. I'm trying to cut down on that, but just a cool hobby, I guess. It's
Yeah.
like I don't have to go out.
Especially around this time,
Um,
you don't have to go out to do some a hobby like that.
yeah, I mean, I do miss it though. Like I do miss going out because I do try to surf when I
Mm-hmm.
can.
Oh yeah, I remember
But
you do that. Yeah.
yeah, I do surf. But I think the last time I surfed was back in November.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while too. Yeah, dude.
Was that before your travels to the Philippines, like during November? So you surfed in November and then you just hopped on a plane,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much.
So yeah, I didn't get to do as much surfing this year because I went to the Philippines. How many times did I go? So that was your February, right?
Yeah.
February to March. And then I went back March. No, February to March. And I went back first week of, I think I went back in 2 weeks actually.
Oh damn.
So let me, February, March. And then I went again March till April. Then I went back May till July. And then September, October. Yeah, I was there pretty much
So it sounded
almost
like
out.
you split your time in 2019
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah. I would say just under 6 months I was there.
yeah, for in the
Yeah,
Philippines and in the US. So you just kind of have
yeah.
you just have like family there, so it's more or less easy for you to do that, right?
I just rented a condo there.
Oh, you just rented
I
a
don't.
condo there?
Yeah, I don't stay with family. I don't stay with family now.
Uh, okay, I can imagine.
I mean,
So,
I can like I don't wanna hassle anyone. So I'd rather just be on my own.
yeah, that's true. And
And my
uh,
my girlfriend's there too. So
mhm,
like um when I did get stuck, I stayed at their place for I think about 2 weeks, two
mhm,
3 weeks. Yeah, and like during Christmas time, I would spend the weekends at her place too.
right.
Yeah, but that was back in December till Feb. Before that, I would just stay in the condo.
Mm. So going back to the photography and whiskey thing, what is your favorite bourbon I almost said rum, bourbon, scotch or whiskey?
So favorite, I would say Scotch.
Yeah.
I would say Scotch. Yeah.
And what brand? What brand I meant?
Oh, brand. That's hard, dude. I wouldn't say I have a favorite, but like I do prefer some.
Mhm.
Depends on my mood. Like I like Lagavulin. That's like really peaty whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't like your whiskey tasting like smoke and dirt, that's not for you.
Yeah.
I do like my Callan 12 is pretty good
Mm-hmm.
if I want something light. What else? Johnny Walker Green. That's like one of the easiest
Easiest thing
bourbons
to
to get
get.
into.
Yeah.
But if you want to get into Scotch, and you don't want to spend money, like Glenlivet's a good one.
I think I got a
Glenlivet
bottle.
12.
Yeah. I think I got
It's
one
like
of the bottles
30.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
$30 on. It's not that. I personally like Johnny Walker Double Black.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same thing, right? I'm not like pretty. I'm not elitist about Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
It could be cheap Scotch as long as it's it could be cheap and it still be good. Same thing with wine.
Yeah. So I have like some cheap stuff in my cabinet, like Jack Daniels. I tend to like Jack Daniels, especially the Tennessee honey.
And a whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like that stuff, it just depends on what you like, right?
Yeah, that's true. And
You,
I don't knock anybody for liking or not liking things, you know.
yeah, I don't. You could like Fireball if only you want, like if you want that stuff. But it's like that's what you drink, right? That's not what I
Yeah.
drink.
Yeah. That spice fireball though.
I can't do it. It's disgusting.
There's ever one night I regret, and it was a fireball night.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, because like for me, like how I got into whiskey too. I remember my seatmate when I was flying from San Francisco to Tokyo. I think we were going to Haneda, and like there's an old Japanese guy next to me. He was like, "If you want to drink, make sure you drink the good stuff, because you only get one liver." It's like, okay.
That's an awesome thing to say.
The guy was like, like I think he was like 85. So like he knows his stuff,
That's awesome.
So like, I kind of took in his advice. So like when I try to do a drink, I try to drink like the more premium stuff. Cause like, why would you want to waste it on like some, $10 bottle tequila or something like that?
Yeah, I remember when I went to Japan, I just bought like a bottle of Japanese whiskey. I think I might have the bottle inside my cabinet.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's it called?
Yeah. So give me a second. I'll show you real quick.
Yeah.
Got to remember to cut that down later. But it's this one. It's all out now, but
I have the same. I have the same bottle.
Yeah. This was.
How is it?
It was the most easiest drinking whiskey I ever had. It's like
I see it now.
yeah. It's great with we were eating like a cream barbecue at home.
Oh, okay.
And so it was great with that. Yeah.
Mizaki.
Yeah, it's so good. And I have a bottle of hibiki inside when my brother came back from Japan, he bought my dad one. But I haven't tried that yet because
how do you guys get those? Like super hard to get.
It's just when people travel.
Yeah, I mean, I bought the same bottle of Yamazaki when I was in Hong Kong.
Okay, I got this one in the shop in Japan called Don Quixote.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a like a higher end version of Don Quixote. It's called Picasso, and so that's where I found this. And so,
do you remember how much you got it for? If you don't mind me asking.
I think it was about I probably have I still kept the receipt, but like I think it's about 120. I would say on a.
Okay. So it's,
yeah.
So it's about the same price.
About the same, yeah. Like in the States, it's probably marked up a bunch.
By $200.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about that bottle? When me and Denny went back in 2016, I think we bought Yamazaki 18.
18?
18. That's like $500 now.
Jeez.
But we bought it back then because whiskey wasn't as big. I think we only paid like under like $150 for that.
Damn, you got a good deal.
Yeah, it was expensive back then.
Yeah.
Now because like what happened with Yamazaki, like the demand just shot up. Same thing with
Mm.
Hibiki. So
Yeah.
that's why if you look at the bottle, there's no age on it.
Yeah. I just realized that it doesn't say an age on it.
Yeah, it's usually Yamazaki 12.
Mm-hmm.
And if you
12,
can find
18.
Yamazaki 12, yeah. And
Yeah.
Yamazaki 12 used to be $40,
Wow.
40, 50. Yeah. So everything shot up.
Damn. So, what was your travel partner like on the plane? What did he recommend for Japanese whiskeys?
We didn't, I don't think he talked about whiskey. I think he liked cocktails.
Oh, he was just talking about
Yeah,
cocktails
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
cocktails
okay.
in general, yeah.
Okay.
Because that guy, he told me he traveled, I think he's been in like 40, 50 countries already.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and he told me he went to Scotland to get some scotch and smoke cigars with his wife. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
That sounds pretty awesome. The life people live.
Yeah, and he actually gave me his I have it somewhere, his business card.
Oh, okay.
He was he's an engineer, and I forget what he does, but I know he's an engineer who works for, I think it was like a nuclear facility or something like that. He's just a cool guy.
Damn. That's
He's already retired, so he's just like traveling the world.
just traveling the world. I met the time's almost running out, but I remember I met someone from New Zealand on a flight to Oregon once, and it was a very interesting conversation. It was just kind of like different, like she was very open about her, like the culture of New Zealand and why is it different from Australia, and how much she didn't like that I mistaken her for an Australian.
She's a
So
Kiwi, dude.
yeah, when I first asked, I was like, "Is that accent from Australia?" She looked at me. I'm like, fucking excuse me." It's like I don't know. I don't know the different accents. I was just shooting in the dark. Yeah,
Yeah, I think they like that.
yeah,
You
but
meet, you do meet a lot of interesting people when you travel, though.
yeah, yeah, and to wind it down, it kind of relates to Japan. I've noticed that you met a lot of people through your trips to Japan, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
made a lot of good friends when I was in Tokyo.
yeah,
It was just me and Denny, and then we ended up meeting 12 other people.
yeah. And was that
So
through
we pretty
the
much
yeah,
our hostel.
yeah,
It
through
was
the
our hostel,
hostel?
like
Yeah,
yeah. So what we did was, I remember Denny went downstairs like, "Hey, we're gonna go out and drink and parties. Who wants to come?" So we just
hmm,
invited everyone.
yeah,
So that's how I became good friends with a lot of people. And then with some of the guys who we even went to like onsens together. It
hmm,
was it's like day after day, like we just went out and partied. So it wasn't really like, that's what I regret about Japan. Like I want to go back and like do the cultural stuff. So I didn't really do any of that because it
hmm,
was spring break.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you
so we
only
just
had
went there
like
for spring
maybe
break.
so you only had probably what, like 10 days at most?
Oh, because it
Even
was during
less than
school,
that?
right? It
Yo,
was during school.
damn.
So we only went there for 4 or 5 days, I think.
Oh,
And like mostly all of those nights were, we would just go to bars and like do stuff like that, karaoke.
that's not too bad though. You still
We even
travel.
met some. We even met some yakuza people. It was pretty cool.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I feel like if we have another podcast, you should really, really talk about how you end up in all of these crazy situations.
Oh, they were super cool guys. It's like
Yeah.
they're tatted up. Like,
Was it through the
yeah.
onsen?
No, it was the karaoke.
Oh, just through karaoke? Okay.
Yeah, everyone's already like kind of like drunk, and like some two Japanese just walk in, ask like, "Oh, how are you guys doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And
Checking
they
in on
started
you.
drinking with us too. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, wow.
Super nice people though.
Yeah.
Like Japan's probably one of the safest countries I've been to, besides Sweden
Mm-hmm.
and Denmark. Those two places are super safe. That's like when I went to Japan, I was like, damn, you could walk in like 5 a.m. in the morning. That's fine.
Yeah.
Same thing with Singapore, by the way.
Same thing. I I had a dream today, and I mentioned this right before the podcast, but it was like I was traveling to Japan, but it was during COVID, and so
Mm-hmm.
it was like one of those things where it's like I'm wearing my mask, and I was like, but I'm also squished in the train, and like, what's going on? Why am I even in this dream in the first place? But it was an interesting um dream. I guess it's because it's like it was a year out of like
Right,
coming
right,
back
right.
from Japan, and so it's just like, oh, like I'm stuck at home and I can't really travel, so I just travel in my brain.
I mean, Japan's pretty much open now, right?
I think so, but I've heard Hokkaido had to do another lockdown, like another
Right,
round of lockdowns, and there I think what I've heard, because I follow a lot of theme park blogs, that they're thinking about opening up City Walk, like the Japanese version of City Walk, and like I think
right, right, right.
it's in Kyoto. Yeah, so I think Universal's in Kyoto. But besides the point, but they're looking closely at what's going on in Florida, and they're considering opening up not just Universal, just kind of like the City Walk tourist area,
Mhm.
because
But yeah, but I think if you want to go, I think it's not going to be too bad, right?
yeah, I hope so.
It's probably safer there than here.
Yeah, my brother booked a trip for November. But that was around. It's like back in February. We're getting so much information blasted that we just kind of don't know what to make of it. And we just heard that Japan canceled the Olympics, and then all of these like really like travel restrictions, and everybody has been getting their flights canceled and stuff like that. Um, he didn't never said anything, and all of a sudden it says, "Hey, I just booked my trip to Japan in November," and I just said, during COVID-19, like the year of no vacations.
No, I think it'll be fine by November.
I hope so. I think it should be fine. Um,
I
I
mean,
just
I think travel's gonna start happening again, maybe end of next month.
yeah. I just try to be positive about it and just hope like things work out. There's some people I know that already traveled to like Mexico and visit family in like Canada and stuff like that. So um
Yeah,
whatever the
I
new
mean,
normal is, I hope, it's just
right?
positive.
Yeah, like I miss the Philippines right now, so it's like, oh, I want to go back.
Yeah. Uh how's the Philippines handling that? Like you said, you still have family out there in the Philippines, and you have like a significant other out there. Like how are they're handling stuff like this right now?
I mean, I guess they're better at it in a way where it's like they do have complete lockdowns.
Mhm.
So they have like extended quarantines. It's like police do patrol the streets to make sure no one goes out. So I think that's great.
Mhm.
I mean, healthcare's not the best, so that's the
Yeah.
only downside. So the mortality rate's pretty high. But otherwise, I think they're doing a good job
Mhm.
considering like the resources that they have.
Mhm. So just to finish,
Everyone's fine.
yeah, just to finish this up, because if anything, we only got like 7 minutes left. I'm just gonna say my last question that I would ask to you, I think for the audiences, would be, what is your biggest advice if somebody's considering traveling at all, um, whether it's alone, with a group of friends, or anything like that? Well, what would you be um, uh, a little advice for them?
I would say budget. Just budget the money, save
Hmm.
up for it. Like maybe you could, because like people always ask me like, oh, how can you travel like that? And it's like, dude, well, if you skip out a few festivals and skip out a few bar nights, you could afford to travel.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And like my best advice, just do hostels. You don't have to stay in a hotel.
Hmm.
I think that's where people burn the most money. Like instead of staying at Airbnb or a hostel, like they're wasting so much money. Spend like $200 a night or something like that. Not worth
Like
it.
like some kind of swanky Japanese hotel in downtown Tokyo or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like just maximize your money. Like
Yeah.
that's how I do it. Like if I do travel, I'm not gonna splurge either.
Hmm.
Like when I was in Southeast for 2 months, I didn't spend a lot of money. I would just
Yeah.
eat like street food. I would eat at small restaurants where locals go, and
Mm-hmm.
usually that's where you find the best foods. If you want to travel, I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. That's some great advice. I feel we're finishing up. Do you want to plug some of your social media here real quick before we sign off on today's
Yeah,
episode?
sure. It's at Shaun Ven, ShaunVen. That's
Mm-hmm.
my Instagram, and you can find my other stuff there. So that
Mm-hmm.
just makes it easier.
So there's links to his coffee place, Asukar Co, and then his photography and whiskey Instagram. And I'm gonna put a link to your coffee company in the description of this podcast.
Sweet. And we're doing a sale right now, guys. If you just want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try
I
it.
really hope you stay safe out there. Everything's good. Everybody's staying healthy, and I hope bigger, better things for your coffee company.
Thanks, dude.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
man.
I'll see you later.
See you.
COVID topic, but there was something that I wanted to bring up that I think you are very vocal about it, but the the whole COVID-19 and within the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were very